some point in this business, you realize the problem isn't a lack of opportunity. It's actually too much of it. There's always something new to try, something to tweak, and something new to pay attention to. And the longer I do this, the more I've learned that progress isn't about chasing everything. It's about deciding what deserves my focus and what doesn't. So today, I want to talk about what I'm actually paying attention to right now. And just as importantly, what I'm intentionally ignoring. This is my so-called card life, where we talk about the hobby, the business, and everything in between. Welcome to my so-called card life, an inside look at the life of a low-end card reseller, brought to you by JC3 Cards and Collectibles, a premier reseller of trading cards available today on eBay, Collects, and whatnot. Whether you're looking to fill out that new set or just rekindle memories with one of your favorite players from your favorite teams, let JC3 Cards and Collectibles help you find that card you're looking for and provide fast, secure delivery straight to your door. Early on, focus looks a lot like curiosity. You're trying new things, you're experimenting, you're figuring out what even works for you. And that stage is important. But at some point, usually without realizing it, focus has to change. Because what helped you grow early on can quietly become the very thing that exhausts you later. More options don't automatically mean more progress. They usually mean more decisions. And my experience thus far has taught me this. Focus isn't about intensity. It's actually about alignment. So the first thing that I'm focusing on now is clarity. Clarity in my buying, clarity in my pricing, and clarity in why something exists in my store at all. If I can't explain in very plain language why I own a card, that's a signal. And it doesn't mean that the card is bad. It just means the decision might not be clear enough. Because activity can feel productive, but clarity actually is. Are you ready for this nugget? I'd rather do fewer things on purpose than more things by accident. The second thing that I'm focusing on now is repeatability. I care much less about what works once and much more about what works even when I'm tired. Because systems that work on perfect weeks aren't really systems at all. They're fragile routines. So I'm paying attention to processes I don't have to rethink every time, and decisions that don't drain energy, and habits that survive busy stretches. Boring is very underrated. If something is boring and reliable, that's usually a good sign. On the flip side, there's a lot that I'm intentionally ignoring right now. Not because it's bad, not because it doesn't work, but simply because not everything deserves my attention. I'm ignoring things like constant feature changes, short term trends that demand immediate reaction, and daily stat fluctuations that don't really change my decisions. Noise loves urgency. The two go hand in hand. And urgency is expensive. So just because something is loud doesn't mean it's important. I'm also ignoring comparisons that don't match my stage in selling. Things like other sellers' volume or other sellers' pace, even other sellers' workflows. Those comparisons are rarely going to make you better. They usually just make you restless because different stages require a different focus. And what matters for someone running massive volume doesn't always matter for someone building something sustainable. Remember, clarity. Clarity beats comparison. There's a trade off that nobody likes to admit. And here's where things get a little bit uncomfortable. Every time you focus on something, you're choosing to ignore something else. There is no version of this where you get to do everything well. Focus is a trade off. And the reason that trade feels a little bit scary is because ignoring things feels like falling behind. But most of the time, it's actually the opposite. It's how you move forward without burning out. And here's a question worth asking. If you're listening to this right now and feeling a little stretched thin, try this question on. What am I paying attention to right now that doesn't actually need my attention? And what would happen if I ignored it for a while? You don't have to decide forever, just long enough to see how it feels. Because focus isn't permanent, it's adjustable. To sum things up for today, I have to say that the biggest shift for me has been finally realizing that focus is a form of confidence. Confidence that lets you understand that you don't need to chase everything. And confidence that helps you know what matters right now. And confidence that tells you it's okay to ignore things that don't fit. Because progress doesn't come from doing more. Progress comes from doing the right things and letting the rest go. I want to thank everyone for spending some time with me today for another good discussion. If this episode resonated with you at all, please hit that like button and let me know in the comments what you're focusing on. And more important, what you're giving yourself permission to ignore. And remember, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central, you can join me for 2 hours of news, nonsense, and knowledge as Adam and I bring together the Dollar Box and JC3 Cards and Collectibles for the Dollar Box live. So until next time, protect your focus, trust your judgment, and keep it sustainable.